Eugene, you've had some success lately. Talking about the Dana White Contender Series of Navajo.
Navajo got the job done, and couldn't be pleased. Obviously, there's another young man who had a goal and asked for my help achieving that goal, and didn't ask for my help, asked for me and my team's help to achieve that goal, and then you're over the moon when someone's able to achieve the first part of his goal, because obviously the second part for anyone who wants to fight at that level is to get to the championship bout. But that's something we don't necessarily have to immediately think about right now.
And his age is a big benefit for him, but it's also his work ethic. And I've been lucky enough to see, how when we were doing the filming for Relentless, we run across Nav, he was running up and down the hill. He's always thinking, always trying to improve. A real thinking, dedicated fighter.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've just, in this sport, and to get to that level, you've just got to be an absolute workhorse. Like, that's just a proven part of anyone who gets the UFC. And then, again, if you want to get to the upper echelon of the UFC, like a lot of our guys have, then you've got to be an even more of a workhorse. You've got to outwork already a bunch of guys that are already very hard workers. I mean, I have a saying that if whoever works the hardest will win the fight. And that doesn't necessarily mean in the 8 weeks, although it does encompass the 8 weeks. It means who's worked hardest over the last year leading up to that fight, who's worked hardest over the last 2 to 3 years over that fight, who's worked hardest from the very start of their career to the point that you are coming together in that fight. And generally speaking, 99% of the time, the person that's worked the hardest across what I mean will come out the winner. Not always, but most of the time. And then where it gets really interesting is where you just have two guys who have just worked equally as hard as each other, right? So Navajo brings all of that to the table. He stuck to my advice. From the day he walked in here, I said, look, I have complete confidence that me and my coaching team and my team can help you get where you want to go. All you have to do is show up, because over the years, this is all about just developing a system that makes fighters the best possible version of themselves. You just have to show up, and it's an ever-evolving, improving system.
How much satisfaction do you get when that happens, when it all works out the way that the plan was developed at the start?
No, it's tremendously satisfying. It's like right up there with when they win a championship or they win a big fight. Getting to that point where they, someone announces that they're in the UFC, whether it be me or Dana or whatever. That's one of the memories that is, right up there with the best of them. Yeah, it's tremendously satisfying.
It doesn't stop there, because you go back this week and Aaron Toe's in line for a contract as well.
Yep. So Aaron, he's in good form. He's over there with Dan Hooker and Bo Rawadi. They're looking after him. And then I fly in today, and then I'll arrive a day before the fight, and then we'll do the business, and then Aaron will do what he needs to do. It's a very, contenders is what contenders is. Like, you've just got to go out there and perform as best as you can. Number one, you have to win, and then if you can do that spectacularly, then you're guaranteeing your place in the final. There's You know, we're seeing that most people that go out there and give it everything and go out there and get a spectacular win, on top of a good performance, are reaping the benefits of that. But sometimes, you know, like some of it's a luck of the draw. You know what I mean? Like when Navajo fought, there was 2 other middleweights that fought, and I thought they were reasonably good. But you know, and none of them got in, none of them got chosen. But I know that if Cameron had fought one of those 2, Cameron would have been able to show how good he is and beat them pretty handedly. You know what I mean? And I also know that if one of those 2 guys fought Finney would have taken them down and stopped them. That's sometimes what it comes down to, you know what I mean? So Aaron's just got to go out there and put on a spectacular performance and just show how good he is, and the decision will take care of itself. Yeah.
Another interesting thing I wanted to ask you about when it happened was on Nev's day of the contest. One fighter pulled out at the last minute, had a nerves attack or something like that. It's hard to fathom, you know, that the fighter that was good enough to get to that point, and then the pressure.
Yeah, fighter who's beat Alex Pereira of all things, had at least 20 professional fights. I mean, I couldn't understand it, mate. Like, there's people in my gym that'll cut off their left arm for that opportunity. But this guy, you don't know what, you know, I don't know the individual, I don't know what sort of problems he has in his head and what sort of problems he's had in his life, but yeah, it got pretty desperate back there. He was actually in our changing room. Even I tried to have a chat with him. He's Brazilian, so he didn't speak much English, but I felt like I could be some sort of help, so even I tried to encourage him. At one stage, they actually convinced him to fight, and he was back on. He was going to fight again. Then I noticed that there was an exciting fight on the TV, so his trainers actually walked away from him for just to have a look at the TV. And I feel like that's where a little bit of a mistake was made, because in that 1 minute that they come to look at this exciting fight, they left him by himself. And then I looked up and saw that he had taking his gloves off. And then I bumped his trainer and I was like, oi, oi. And then they ran over to him, but by then they had left him for just a little bit too long, and he had again decided, and then from that point he didn't show up. So yeah, I mean, I feel for the guy. I feel sorry for the guy. He's probably given away his opportunity. I feel sorry for the guy he was fighting. I know a little bit about the guy he was fighting. He's a very good fighter named Cody Steele. He's missed out on an opportunity. Hopefully he gets another opportunity. So yeah, it was one of the strangest things I've seen in fighting. Yeah.
I heard or read somewhere that Nav has actually already been offered a fight. Can you confirm that?
No, I can't.
Oh, there you go.
I cannot confirm.
Can't believe everything you read.
Well, I put it this way: I cannot confirm, but I also cannot deny.
Oh.
So take from that what you will. But yeah, look, Nav was back sparring on Saturday, so you read between the lines, I guess, and yeah.
The other thing is Kevin Jousset leaves to fight shortly.
Yeah, Kev's leaving tonight as well. I leave tonight. Kev leaves tonight. Kev's going over 2 weeks early. He's going to train in Nice, and just he wants to acclimatise himself really well in France, given that it's so far away. So he's going to go over with Andre a week earlier than me, and then I'll meet up with them next week. But they'll be by then they'll be well and truly acclimatised to the different time zone and the different temperature and all the rest of it.
How's his camp gone?
Nah, he's looking really good. I just did one final pad session with him, and looking sharp. These guys they're all the same, man. Like they might not look that sharp at the beginning of camp, but then they just flick a switch at a certain point when they know they're getting close to the fight, and then things just start to happen. It makes you panic because you're like, well, why don't you just why don't you just do this from the starter camp? But then that's the nature of these guys. Like when they need to turn it on, they turn it on. You know what I mean? That's what a professional athlete does. Yeah.
Oh, well, I'm sure Aaron and Kev will turn it on. And
how about that guy Brody, mate? He doesn't train that hard, eh? That guy Brody doesn't train that hard. Oh, there he is. There. Yeah, mate. Yeah.
he's an Oz.
Those Aussies got that suspect work ethic, eh?
Cheers seats, mate. That's cool.
Sucking my power away.
Cool, mate.
Andy,
What are you doing?
I'm going to go, so I might not see you.
Okay.
Till I'm back on Friday.